When Indiana Jones and the Great Circle was announced, I was excited but skeptical. Developer Machine Games and publisher Bethesda, now owned by Microsoft, have made fantastic games such as the reboot of the Wolfenstein series, but with Youngblood in that same series they also failed miserably. Bethesda also has hits and misses as a developer and as a publisher.
16 times the detail.
In addition, Machine Games is an expert in the field of first-person shooters, and with Indiana Jones you immediately think of an Uncharted-like game, so in third person. It soon became clear that this was not the case, but that it would be a first-person adventure. Later it also turned out that shooting was possible, but that the gameplay would mostly exist out of sneaking and hand-to-hand combat. I became very curious whether this was the Xbox exclusive that would finally give Microsoft a W, or whether this would be another disappointment. And for those who have already seen my top 10 video, you already know the answer. But still, let me explain to you why I was completely blown away by Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Because this game surprised me in the most positive way.
Actually, sir, this is the most fun I've ever had.
Oh, really? Well, don't tell your mother, all right?
Let's start with the story. The story is a typical Indiana Jones adventure that could have come straight out of a movie. If you didn't know better, you'd think they actually did copy a movie. By the way, the prologue level is a direct copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark, including a large boulder that rolls after you. You experience all of this through the eyes of Indy, which is super cool. After this prologue level, the game really starts. The story starts with a break-in in the museum/university where Indy works. Indy catches the thief red-handed, a giant who not only gives me big cheese vibes,
requires cleansing. Come, child.
but also knocks Indy out and then takes an artifact with him. In search of this artifact, Indy leaves for Rome, to be precise the Vatican, and there he discovers that not only the mysterious giant, but also the Nazis are after this artifact. This is because there appears to be a stone from the Great Circle in it, and under the leadership of Nazi archaeologist Emmerich Voss, the big bad guy in this game, the Nazis are looking for all the stones in order to use the Great Circle and its powers for their own gain. Something that Indy of course will have to put a stop to.
The strange part. If you were to draw a line through these ancient sites around the globe, you get a perfectly aligned circle.
The Great Circle.
Exactly.
Sounds like a coincidence to me.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just a fluke. Or maybe Voss found something that connects these stone relics to the Great Circle.
Nazis don't care about history, Dr. Jones. They only care about power.
Legend says that the Great Circle does have some power, something about its geometry, a deeper force that connects these sites.
Yeah, but that's superstition. And I don't believe in superstition.
Neither do I. But if Voss thinks those stone relics can help the Reich, then we have to find them before he does.
And so you travel all over the world in search of the stones and a way to stop Voss. You don't do this alone, but together with Gina, a journalist who you meet in Rome who is looking for her sister, a linguist who was kidnapped by Voss and now works for him. And so a typical Indiana Jones plot develops in which Nazis have to be stopped, the world is traveled, and puzzles and temples are discovered, together with a beautiful lady that Indy develops feelings for.
Gina.
What makes this story so strong is the fantastic acting and voice work. All characters are fantastically portrayed, including Indiana Jones himself. Troy Baker has done a great job. Often you don't realize that this is not Harrison Ford himself who is doing this, but also the other characters are great. The cutscenes are also very good in terms of indie vibes, including the slapstick-like moments make the game as indie as it's gonna get.
Take the gun!
And I don't know what it is with machine games and German language, but just like in the Wolfenstein games, the cutscenes with the Nazis are rock solid, especially in German. And also the fact that they are sometimes not too serious and therefore bring up a bit of that evil German Nazi feeling makes the game rock solid in terms of story.
Choo-choo! Choo-choo! I'm a
train!
The gameplay is first-person action. The focus is not on shooting, in fact it's not effective at all. This is because Indy himself can only take a few bullets and so it is more of a last resort than a solution. The focus in the combat is on melee combat and that works surprisingly well with the help of various objects that can be used as melee weapons. Your fists and your whip, you knock out many Nazis, and that is accompanied by blows that have the unsurpassed Indiana Jones vibes in terms of sound design. You sometimes have to try to remain unseen, because if you get caught somewhere and you get more than 3 enemies throwing punches at you, you are screwed. It is therefore worthwhile to sneak and use stealth attacks to thin out the herd a bit before you enter the fight. You can do this by using objects as melee weapons,
Sweet dreams.
but sometimes you can also give someone a subtle push.
On to step, pal! Perfection.
The sneaking works quite well, partly because the AI is quite forgiving. Enemies don't spot you too quickly and are also quite stupid, which usually benefits the gameplay. And I say usually because sometimes the game takes it a step too far in terms of stupidity. Besides all the action, there is also a lot of puzzling, in various temples, caves and other cool locations. And you also platform your way through those locations, mostly in first person. Although in some cases the perspective switches to third person, which works very organically and also adds value to the flow of the gameplay. You do all this, contrary to what I expected, not in linear levels. Yes, there are a few, but the largest part of the game takes place in multiple larger open levels in various cool locations. In those larger open maps there is also a lot to do besides the main story, from side quests to optional puzzles and locations, and also a lot of collectibles. For everything you do, you get XP points, which you can use to learn all kinds of extra skills based on books that you find or buy in the world. Think of taking out unaware enemies with the whip, or a second wind when you go down in a fight if you can pick up your head in time. There is also an extra currency in the form of medicine bottles that you can use to upgrade yourself, for example more stamina or a larger health bar. In addition, you can also use your camera for a large part of the game. You use this as an extra for photographing collectibles, but also locations. Everything for a bit of XP of course. But through the lens of the camera you can also get hints for puzzles, which makes the camera very useful. And so you explore through the levels in which there is really a lot to do. You can also find different costumes in each area that you can use to disguise yourself, but if you are dressed as a Nazi, the captains will recognize you. So it's not a complete get out of jail free card, an element that reminded me a lot of the Hitman games. You can spend a good 6 to 7 hours in a level finding and discovering everything, and because it really pays off to do this in the form of skill books or XP and currencies for upgrades, you actually want to do this, and it makes the game much better than a linear experience.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
The presentation is really fantastic, apart from some technical performance issues. For example, the occasional clipping, sometimes some frame drops in cutscenes, and sometimes the face of an NPC is a bit messed up.
What is that?
But the main problem is the pop-in, and that pop-in is really annoying, especially in the Thailand level. So annoying that I even started messing around with the settings, and no matter what I did, it didn't go away. Even with all the settings on low, and remember I play this on a 4070 Super, so believe me, that's not the problem, it still didn't go away.
Witchcraft.
But besides those minor problems, the game remains a beautiful experience that breathes Indiana Jones to perfection, so in the end, who cares? The game is beautiful, you will enjoy great views several times, the light and shadow effects are fantastic,
Nice view.
and there are great details such as how you chase away scorpions with fire. The music is top notch, as is the previously mentioned voice acting, and the performance is also super smooth. The game is perfectly optimized so that you get high FPS. All this makes it a great experience to play. In terms of presentation, this is very high quality. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has completely surprised me. I did not dare to hope that this would be this good, but especially in terms of gameplay this is so much better than I thought it would be. The open levels work out perfectly and provide a lot of fun. Add a good story full of indie soul and great graphics and performance and you have a top game. More of this, Microsoft. I give Indiana Jones and the Great Circle a 9.6. This is a must play. And with that, we have come to the end of this review. What did you think of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video. And if you want to see live gameplay, you can do that on Twitch, twitch.tv/gameplayofjay, and don't forget to follow there as well. For more content, check the suggestions on the left or the channel on the right. And for now, thanks for watching, and until the next time, bye!